All of those guys are on scholarship. It's college football and all of that, but that's just the bottom line. But when you have your quarterback who did play well last week, he was, questionable in the pocket last week, but this week he looked extremely comfortable. He spread the ball around a lot. He got 7 receivers involved. 7 of them had 2 receptions. John Emery, like we said, emerged as a force out of the backfield. They've been saying that he's good. Just seeing those guys kind of click. Eli Ricks got his quote-unquote first career interception. Jacoby Stevens told him that he played so bad last week that the first one that he had actually didn't count. So the team all around played well. And not to mention, too, Derek Stingley finally got back in the lineup, so that gave them a lot of confidence booster by being able to shut down one side of the field. That's all that.
I disagree.
That's essentially all that they're doing. And the reason that I say that is because Chris Curry did have 58 yards rushing last week, even though they didn't give him the ball that much. I think you give him the ball 5 or 6 more times, you're looking at a 100-yard rusher. And I think that also would have been the difference in that ball game, because when you run the football enough, people are able to be drawn in by that, and then you can play action pass. You can throw the ball over the top to Terrace Marshall, Jeray Jenkins. We saw the emergence of John Trey Kirkland, who was just a special teams player. So Chris Curry, I think, is not necessarily the #1 back. He's going to be the #1 on the depth chart because he's a leader. He wears the number 18. He's a leader in that room. But yes, right now, John Emery is the hot hand. But like we just said, Vanderbilt is not necessarily the greatest competition. Maybe when we see how he stacks up against Alabama, Auburn, Florida, all of those bigger games that they have further down the line. And even so, I think they're going to have to use all of their running backs to get it done against those type of caliber of defenses. Man, shout out to the New Orleans Saints picking up a win. Shout out to Drew Brees, too. 76% of his passes complete. So all that narrative that he's too old or that he's got rust on him, you can throw that out the window because he played absolutely sensational today for his team, stepping up big time for them. The running game also clicking big time for them. Latavius Murray, Alvin Kamara combining for 147 yards rushing. It gets no bigger than that. To see those guys really stepping up, Patrick Robinson also getting an INT, that was big for them to get that, to push that win to where they needed. And right down the stretch, the Saints were able to close out with their running game. Like Alvin Kamara was saying, make them stop it, and the Lions just weren't able to stop them running the ball.
And let's show love to Latavius Murray. He had a nice game as well. Multiple touchdowns.
He did. 2 touchdowns. Those were his first 2 of the season. Matter of fact, so you talk about a guy that's put in that Saints roster that normally, shifts around running backs a lot of the time. To be able to come in, step up the way that he did, it was tremendous. It really was. I'm telling you, man, those guys, especially when you get Mike Thomas back into the lineup, the Saints are going to be a scary team. You talk about the first quarter, you break down the season in 4 quarters. They've got through the first quarter 2-2, and the next thing that they have up right now, they have the Chargers in 8 days. They have a bye week, Panthers, Bears, and Bucks for the second time this year. So that should be an interesting schedule down the way. But, if you can get through those next 4, maybe going 4-0, 3-1, now you're putting yourself in a position to potentially clinch a first-round bye going into the playoffs. Like Coach Bachman was saying, they did fight through a lot of mistakes. And as I was kind of looking at the box score, everything looked pretty similar. Ash had 24 first downs, Parkway had 20. But the thing that they won was the money down. 3rd down, they had 69% conversions. I believe it was 9 of 13 or something around that, but 69%. Parkway only converted 40% of the time. So when you win the money down, that is how you win ball games. And I think Judd Barton, even though he had 2 interceptions early in the game, he's found a security blanket, and they've built that relationship during fall camp. Him and TJ Johnson are looking really special right now.
Yeah.